extra time.
John's Telegraph makes your life.
And in terms of the selection for this series, for this test, Adil Rashid's call-up has divided opinion a bit. Can I just get your take on it, or what your thoughts are?
Yeah, it is interesting. Obviously, I think it's because it's so unusual, because of the history of obviously Adil saying he's not playing red ball cricket. But over in the last couple of months, there's been some exceptional circumstances with the guys who have been next in line. Obviously, with Jack and Dom, Jack's obviously had his a couple of injuries at the wrong time, and hasn't bowled a huge amount over the last 2 or 3 months. I played with him in the Lions game, and he was probably a little bit short of match practice and that rhythm which you need as a bowler. So. And probably, I know Dom hasn't been injured, but the amount of cricket he's played as a very young spinner right at the beginning of his career, in one sense, the selectors didn't have too many options really in that sense. And the way Adil's been playing and bowling for the one-dayers, it seemed quite an obvious selection. He has been bowling brilliantly. I know in a different format. So in one sense I feel a little bit sorry for Adil, like all this stuff, the political side of his selection, rather than looking at him himself, who's gone away and worked really hard on his one-day skills and has bowling brilliantly in the last 2 series. He's been selected to play for England, which is a huge honour, and all this other stuff's overtaken it. For me, I suppose it's just because it's unusual. It's never really happened this way before. I don't think it'll happen very many times again. And obviously Ed said you need to be playing red ball cricket, and I think that's right. But sometimes exceptional circumstances mean selection goes a different way than you would like, and obviously Ed and selectors made a brave call.
The last time you were in India, the talk revolved about the captaincy and are you going to resign and stuff like that. And now you're at a clean state. What's your headspace when you find yourself enjoying it more, if I could use the word, or how are you looking at your career now? Well,
everyone just asked me when I'm going to retire now, so it's like that's what I'm glad no one has in this press conference. That's what the next question always is. Well, I thought I'd get it in before you. Yeah, it's just different now. I thoroughly, and the English guys will hear this, I thoroughly enjoyed my time as England captain. It was a very challenging. It is a very challenging job. It's a hard job, but it's also a very rewarding job. You get tested in ways you never thought you'd get tested. You get making decisions every day about things which, before the day starts, you don't know what you're going to, be making those decisions on. And you're captaining your country, which is the biggest honour in the sport you play. So, I absolutely loved it. I believe it was the right time for me personally. I think if you were doing an ideal world, you would have. I'm sure the hierarchy would like me to have gone on to captain in Australia. I think that was if you could have written it perfectly, but I didn't feel as if I could give. I wasn't in the right mental state to do that, and it wasn't fair for the team, for a captain to be there. So it was the right decision for me. And as that has happened, my you involved as a player as things on. I'm now the senior batter. I don't have to worry about team meetings, what's been said, how we, looking at the opposition, all that kind of stuff. I can just concentrate on the batting, and obviously that still got pressure, but it's just different things. So yeah, I've enjoyed this second part of it.
Do you think it's realistic?
From a captain's point of view, if you were in that situation, do you need to consider the implications of that selection, or is it just about having your best players available to you at the end of the day?
I think naturally you do. I think you always, every time you select anyone, you understand there's going to be can be some implications to certain selections. I said this is, I believe, a bit of an unusual circumstance. So, these circumstances won't come off that often again. So, I can understand why it's caused a bit of fuss, but I think we'll just get on. You just have to get on with it. Now I think we've got to look at the positives of it. We've got a different style of English spinner with a little bit of mystery to him, who's bowling really well, and that should be what we should be excited about. Not really what's happening with the off-field stuff and the Yorkshire stuff and all that. We should be concentrating on the positives rather than so-called negatives. And as I keep repeating, I think it's just because of the circumstances we are in.
Alastair, this is England's 1000th test. Let's start by just asking if you've got a favourite of yours through the years as a player and as a fan.
Put me on the spot there, I have to think. Best test match. This could go on a while, thinking under pressure now. My favourite test match? Probably in Sydney when we won abroad. I think winning the Ashes test match, obviously probably wasn't the most exciting test match, but the sense of the feeling we got at the end of that tour was incredible. And probably as a fan, one of the 2005 games, probably the one here, probably getting caught down the leg side with 2 runs needed, I think was obviously a great test match.
Hit the subscribe option and the bell icon to get all the exclusive sports videos on Extra Time.